All set? Okay, this is the Freeport Project Review Board meeting for Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. The first item on our agenda tonight is the information exchange, and I'll turn it over to Caroline.
Sure, so I'm just going to
Sorry.
share here. So we had 2 staff approvals this month. Linda, I hope you can see it. You might remember a few years ago, or maybe more than a few years ago, the board approved an addition to the GAT building, and the American Eagle went on the back, and there's always been this vacant remitted space in the middle with no tenant while it's going to have its first tenant. Next Stop Wonderland is a new art gallery that's going to be opening in there, and they're going to have a sign in that sign spot right over the door. That was part of the approval. It's going to be rectangular, black and white, just as you see here. And the second staff approval, we had Divine Capital, which, as you know, is the 144 apartment units on Desert Road. When they came in, they had approval, sorry about that. They had approval for a ground sign, and so they came in, sorry, it's sideways here. Same spot, 4 inches taller, but otherwise the same size, and it will have lighting shielded in the stone wall. Again, same location and approximate size as you guys approved. So those were both our staff approvals for this month. Okay, sorry. Number 2, update on the Freeport downtown vision. We talked about this a little bit in our workshop. So there's been a little bit of a delay from principal group in getting the town the first drafts of the plan. The last big event, which a lot of you participated in, was at Design Week, where we had all the series of meetings. If you hadn't already seen them, we have a lot of the boards up. You can visit the website. So the next step will be April 9th. I believe it's 11 to 2 at Town Hall. Weather permitting, it will be an outdoor event. Principal group will come back. They'll be updating the boards. I don't think we'll see an entire draft plan. I think we'll see parts. There's a few ideas that they want to get some more feedback from the community on. And so that will be an opportunity at that open house, and you can meet the team and ask questions and give feedback on anything if you haven't already. We struggled a little bit. COVID was still pretty strong during Design Week, so we had great virtual attendance, but it seemed that people were a little bit hesitant to come to in-person events. So hopefully, if it's a nice day and we're outside in open air, we'll get a good in-person turnout for people to come see what's going on, hear about the ideas, and give feedback in a more personal setting. And then number 3, update on the Harris Secret Ridge subdivision. So that project came to you guys a while back for conceptual site walk. It's a 80-unit project on US Route 1 North, consists of 40 duplexes. So it came to you for conceptual. We had a site walk that nobody will ever forget because it was the heat of summer and tick season, and it's 90 acres, I believe. And then they came back for conceptual approval. So the ordinance says that they need to submit to come back to you within 6 months, otherwise they could have to start the process all over. So they did submit to come back to you. It is a large project, so we're continuing to work on review. We just got traffic information from them. We just got some stormwater information. And due to the fact that you haven't really gotten past concept with a couple vacancies and changing on the board, it really seemed to make sense to put them off until next month to come back to allow additional time for review and to make sure that we could get everyone up to speed before they proceeded further. So I just wanted to let you know that they did submit within that window, but that's kind of the process that we're following, and make sure there weren't any issues or objections with that at this point. And then finally, I mentioned to Guy that I am not going to be in town April 20th. I'd be happy to join you virtually, or if you prefer, we could try to put the meeting off a week till the 4th Wednesday in April if the board has availability. We have staff taking time off, which is a rarity. So between Adam and I, if you are open to moving the meeting or if you want to keep it, I would just ask that we keep the same submission deadline to allow adequate review time and to get public notice out.
And the original date is when Harris Secret's coming?
They will come whenever the meeting is, yep, in April. So the original date is the 3rd Wednesday, which is school vacation week. It's the 20th. The fourth Wednesday would be the 27th. You do have one new member that was appointed last night. I think before the meeting, you'll have a full board. I haven't heard back from them on their meeting date availability.
And hybrid meetings are going to continue indefinitely, right?
Hybrid meetings are going to continue indefinitely. The public and staff can always join hybrid. The board has to have one of the reasons under the remote participation policy to participate that way. Yes, as long as we have the technology in place, which we're trying to master, that is the intent. That will always offer that option to the public.
Well, I would suggest that we move the meeting so our staff is here.
I agree.
I agree.
I haven't tried a Zoom hybrid meeting yet, so.
We need someone here to work the Zoom, I think,
Well,
right?
I know two people that don't have anything next month on Wednesday night, so. No, and that would be the plan. If you wanted me to keep the date in hybrid, I would have someone physically here so that none of you would have to experiment with this. So don't let that scare you, because we could have that taken care of.
I think it's important to have you here in the room with us if possible. So
Okay.
that would be my preference.
Which makes it what date now?
It would be the last Wednesday, which I think is the 27th, and you have Linda with a hand, so I'm going to turn her up, Guy. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, Linda.
I have a meeting scheduled, but I can probably try to adjust that meeting to another time.
The 27th at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I have a fourth Wednesday meeting. It's the social racial equity meeting, but I'll talk to John Egan and see what goes on.
Okay, thank you. And I'll wait till I hear from the new members so we can make sure that
Okay.
we have a quorum.
Make sure we have a
Can
quorum.
the other board members be here?
On Zoom.
Okay.
Todd, Lynn, that day's okay?
Yes, 27th.
Sorry.
Okay.
Zoom's okay for you?
And
Me?
Zoom's
Yep.
okay? Ford? Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Hopefully, we have a quorum.
thank you. It sounds like we have a quorum. If we don't have a quorum, we'll reevaluate, and if my plans change and I'll be around, then we can make that work. Okay, so that was all I had under info exchange for tonight.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about the vision? Do you expect the report to be out by April 9th, or the draft report?
I don't believe so. I think it's
Oh.
going to come out after that because there's a few more things they wanted feedback. So I think we'll have the open house. You'll probably hear a little more development of the ideas that will be in there, but they really wanted to get a little more feedback before they release the draft. I think the draft will be like a week or two later in March. And then the public will have the opportunity to review it. It will go to council, look at additional feedback, and I think the goal is to have it finalized in May. And the project will be wrapped up at that phase of the project.
Is that the second phase?
By that phase, I mean the work that principal was hired to do.
So that's the all three.
All three phases.
$150,000 phase.
Yep.
Is gonna be done by the end of May.
Yep, done by the end of May, and we've got the question a lot, so I'll offer it. People have said, well, are there gonna be implementation strategies or priorities or any of that stuff? And that is something that they're working on to give the town guidance. And then, I think it'll be up to us for how we move those ideas forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The next item on our agenda tonight is the review of the minutes from the February 16th, 2022 meeting. Are there any comments or edits that need to be made on those meeting minutes?
You wanna let Linda go first?
Yes. Linda?
Thank you, thank you. I just had one question on page 5 that has to do with the Mass Landing School building. It says under F, under utilities, just clarification, the building will not be connected to public water or public sewer. Does that mean, what are they doing for bathrooms and water? Or is that an error in the writing?
That's a typo. Will be connected to what? All right, will be connected to water and sewer.
Okay,
Got
thank
page
you.
5 under the findings.
Okay, so that'll be corrected as corrected on the approval?
Any other comments? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved?
Okay. Roll call vote.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Sorry, second. There's a second. We have one.
Yeah, Ford.
Okay, thank you, Ford. All right. Roll call vote. Berger.
Yes?
Blanchard, yes. Campanelli.
Excuse.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
That's right.
Hamlin.
Yes?
Reiki.
Yes.
Troidel.
Yes.
Yankee.
Yes.
Okay. It's unanimous with one abstention. Okay. The next item on our agenda tonight are the reviews. The first is the Royal River Natural Foods Parking Expansion Site Plan Amendment. And Caroline?
Sure. So the applicant's here tonight for a site plan amendment. They have an existing parking lot and they feel that they need more parking, so they want to add 11 spaces. It will be to the rear of the existing parking lot. In this zone, the parking requirement is based upon an analysis submitted by the applicant. They didn't really submit any new analysis or anything like that. They just, came in for the need that they recognize on their own, which I think is the hope when we have people in the district where it's based upon, what the board determines, but based upon the information that the applicant submits. One thing that did come up in the review, that because they're going to have 67 parking spaces, they do need to have 3 of those that are accessible. They are short one. In addition, the existing ADA spaces don't comply with the ADA requirements of the ordinance. Anytime you're restriping or doing parking lots improvements, you have to bring those up to compliance. The applicant is aware of it. I did put and there was a little bit of grade changes that somebody flagged there that could come into play with the existing ADA. So before you have a standard motion, but there is a proposed condition that the applicant revise the plan to address the 3 ADA spaces to be subject to staff approval if that's something the board's okay with. The other part of this project is there is an existing stormwater management on site, and so the applicant is going to be upgrading that by reconfiguring the pond so it can accommodate the stormwater. Overall, there will be an increase in the amount of impervious area, but the town engineer did review it and feels that it meets the standards. He did recommend the standard stormwater maintenance agreement, which would be recorded, and again, that's a suggested condition. One thing here is the applicant did request a waiver of a formal boundary survey. That's something the board has the ability to waive if the applicant, feels that they have sufficient information available to determine the property lines. So that has been a request. I just realized that there's no draft waiver, so I will draft that up for you if that's something that you want to entertain. The applicant's team is here tonight. They can, address the waiver, any other questions that the board might have.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. Would the applicant like to speak? Thanks.
I'm Dan Diffin with CV Maher Engineers, representing Tina Wilcoxon, owner of Royal River Natural Foods. I think the summary that Caroline gave was quite thorough. I'm happy to give more info if you guys have specific questions or want to look at some of the plans.
Okay, thanks. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just so I understand let me just make sure this is on. The stormwater retention looks like it's just getting pushed around the corner a little bit.
Correct. We're basically just kind of resizing it where we have open area to allow the
Yeah.
paving area to push into it. Yep.
Linda, I see that you've got your hand up.
Yes, of course. Sorry again. I want to add to that question about the stormwater detention pond. It appears on the drawing that the new parking spaces are going to move into the area where part of that pond is. So I'm wondering if there is a construction sequence about filling or whatever you're going to do, and what are you going to do to close off that part and do whatever that regrading or whatever you have to do, if it's somewhere on the plan. And then the order of basically the construction sequence of what you're going to do. I would be concerned because I didn't see anything about doing that filling or modifying of the pond before you start to do the rest of it and then put in the parking. How are you going to protect any of the construction debris going into the water and then going out and possibly clogging up any of that drainage facilities that you have in there.
Yeah, great question. We did include an erosion sedimentation control plan as part of the submission that sort of outlined the protection that the contractor is going to be required to provide during construction. We don't typically dictate phasing to a contractor because they oftentimes have their own means and methods that they can apply to make things go smoothly. But we did have the erosion sedimentation controls on there, which will basically enforce the requirements of the town that drainage infrastructure is protected. We are actually picking up or moving the existing outlet to the pond and repairing that because it is somewhat clogged right now with some debris. So we would expect that we're going to be able to clean that during construction so that it operates much more efficiently post-construction.
I hope that works. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Any other questions or comments from the board?
On a motion?
I will entertain a motion.
Caroline, am I correct that the draft motion does not include,
The waiver needs
Hold
to
on,
be separate.
time out. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on the application?
tricked you?
Thanks, board.
Guy, you remembered it, and there was no one on Zoom
Ah,
tonight.
okay. As soon as I said, is there a motion, I forgot. Okay, whoever would like to make the motion, I have language for a proposed waiver I can pass. Okay.
And on the ADA spaces, that's not in your draft language, is it?
It's number 3, accessible parking requirement.
Got it. Okay, thanks. So this would just be a condition, an additional condition, is that what you're saying?
You want to do the waiver, read the waiver first?
And
move
vote
in
on it
second and
separately?
vote, and then do the motion.
Okay, my first motion is that we waive boundary survey for Royal River Natural Foods as follows. Be it ordered that the Freeport Project Review Board waive the standard of Section 602D4C for a formal boundary survey in that the applicant has demonstrated that sufficient information is available to establish on the ground all property boundaries.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Berger?
Yes.
Blanchard, yes. Campanelli?
Yes.
Hamlin?
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes.
Troidel?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
May I make another motion?
Please.
Be it ordered that the Freeport Project Review Board approve the printed findings of fact and site plan amendment for 12 Properties LLC for site plan amendment for expanded parking associated site improvements for Royal River Natural Foods at 443 U.S. Route 1, Tax Assessor Map 23, Lot 63. To be built substantially as proposed, plans dated 1/2022, revised February through February 2000. Finding that it meets the standards of Freeport zoning ordinance with the following conditions of approval. 1, this approval incorporates by reference all supporting plans that amend the previously approved plans submitted by the applicant and the representatives at the Project Review Board meetings and the hearings on the subject application to the extent that they are not in conflict with other stated conditions. 2, prior to any site work associated with the project, the applicant will do the following. A, establish a performance guarantee in the amount to cover the cost of all site work associated with the project to be reviewed and approved by the town engineer in form acceptable to the town attorney. The performance guarantee shall cover the cost of all site work, including but not limited to erosion control, drainage, landscaping, walkways, parking areas, etc., along with a performance guarantee, a non-refundable administrative fee at the rate to be established by the Freeport Town Council be paid. B, establishes an escrow account in amount to be decided to cover the cost of plan review and inspections of the site improvements by the town engineer. C, the developer have a pre-construction meeting with the town engineer. D, the applicant enter into a maintenance agreement for the stormwater maintenance management system with the town of Freeport to be recorded in the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds. And 3, the applicant adjusts the site plan to meet the accessible parking requirements of section 514B10 of the zoning ordinance, subject to planner review.
Thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Berger?
Yes.
Blanchard, yes. Campanelli?
Yes.
Hamlin?
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes.
Troidel?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous. Thank you.
You have a nice business.
Yeah. Good neighbors, yeah.
The next item on our agenda tonight is Good Fire Brewing Site Plan Amendment, and I will be recusing myself. I had a conversation with the applicant regarding setbacks, so Adam will be chairing this application.
Thanks, Guy. We've obviously seen this a couple times before, but Caroline, if you want to just describe why they're back?
Sure. So the applicant's before you because they've kind of changed their business model since they were here before, and it's led to some alterations to the site. I would say, to summarize what they're doing, there's nothing huge, but together adds up to a lot of changes. The real trigger why this is here is the square footage of the building modifications. Our ordinance is pretty vague, and what it says I can approve are pretty limited. In addition, this is on Route 1 South in the commercial district, so it does trigger the standards of Section 527. And based upon those requirements, I felt like it did meet the threshold for needing to come to the board. So the biggest change is that the last time this was before you, it was a 2-tenant building. It was a restaurant to be operated by Mr. Tuna, and then it was Good Fire Brewing by David and his team. Their plans have changed, so David is going to operate the brewery and the restaurant. That has resulted in some changes to the building. They want to shift the entrance from the 2 entrances on the Route 1 facade to one centralized entrance. They want to change the patio so it better works with the 1-tenant setup. And if you've been to the prior restaurant, you know on the back they had this outdoor patio porch thing that had an enclosure. Well, they've since decided they want to take that down and actually put a building addition there. Also on the back, they previously had a shipping container, which was kind of a feature that came before you. They're proposing to remove that and then kind of move a bike rack around in that position. Since they are going to have that one centralized location on the back, they are shifting around their ADA parking. So you'll see the 3 spots are now behind that main entrance to the building. It actually did allow them to gain a parking space. Otherwise, the overall concept of accessing the site from South Freeport Road instead of Route 1 is still the same. As you're probably aware, the property is located in a threatened watershed. Because of the changes to the patio, they're going to propose some areas that are concrete now. There was an overall slight decrease in impervious area, but due to the changes, Adam requested some more information from their engineer. We did get a response from that yesterday afternoon. Adam has not had time to go through it, so his initial response to me is there's not a ton of concern, but he does need to take another look and work with the applicant's engineer just to make sure that everything is good for the area of treatment for the concrete patio. So I would propose a condition that I've chicken scratched down for you, that revised plans be submitted to be reviewed by the town engineer to address the comments in the email that he provided to you. Again, I don't think it's going to be anything huge. It's just really going to be working out those final details and won't result in any overall large change. There were some changes to like the pedestrian circulation, the walkways. It actually does allow some more room for planters. I think the one question for the board is, since this is in Route 1 South, that's kind of a funky parcel where it has frontage on Route 1, the previously established frontage on South Freeport Road, but you have that landscape buffer requirement from Route 1 and in the front setback. The board has to approve what's in the buffer. The drawings before you do show the patio, the stone area or concrete in the setback. That's considered a structure. It's not allowed. Furthermore, they do show fencing in that area. Some of the area where they show the fence, I think the intent is they would use it for customers, but it would be grass surface with a fence. So the question for the board, understanding they have to move that patio back, but are you okay with the encroachment of that fence into the landscape buffer, or do they need to move that back so it adheres to the 15-foot setback? that's something that they need guidance from you on. And then finally, the last thing in 527, they did make some adjustments to that pedestrian connection with the abutting property. And the proposed motion before you just, kind of references to the previously approved conditions would still be applicable. Number 3, depending what you guys deliberate on for the fence, could be adjusted. And then we would need to see a updated cost estimate to know, and include all the changes to the site and including the landscaping and the patio, just to make sure we have that adequate performance guarantee on file and that we're retaining that appropriately and releasing it appropriately for the applicant as we go forward. Happy to answer any questions, or David and his team are here tonight.
Great. Yeah, would the applicant like to?
Well, I just want to say, I think that's an excellent summary, and I'm here to answer any questions. Thanks for your time.
Right. Open it up
Are
to
you
the.
gonna be-
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Are you gonna be able to get the drawing up, or we up on the?
I can, if you don't have the drawing, I can put the drawing up.
We have large copies, and then I have a computer as well.
Well, we have this, I guess I'm kind of confused about the fence and the setback and where you're talking about that.
Yeah, sure, I can pull it up here.
Guess the other question is, when you were here before, there was a discussion about the corner of your building that sits on the neighbor's property. Have you gotten any of that resolved, or
Which piece to be resolved exactly?
the corner? I mean,
That was resolved prior to our purchasing the building, though.
okay.
Yeah. So I don't think there was anything outstanding. The only issue that we questioned for the neighbors at the last meeting was about whether we would be able to coordinate with them on a collaborated landscape plan. And at this time, I have met with Mike Jacobson. I've gotten sort of a verbal commitment from him, and once there's a drawing up, I can sort of explain what he said he thought would be agreeable to them. Ultimately, in talking with him, we realized that he would have to go before the board in order to get approval for that, because technically it's his property, and I can't, even with his okay on the construction, we can't make the changes without your approval. So, but good thing. Yeah. We had a great conversation with Mike, and essentially he thought we could take the corner of the building towards the statue and just make that all grass, as long as he had some concerns about they're using that corner as a loading area, and he just wanted to make sure that the UPS trucks would be able to swing wide enough out. So we even talked about putting, is it the Eco Raster? We would revisit that situation and try to come up with a solution that allowed for the trucks to not be sinking in mud season, but also that sort of allowed for a more contiguous looking border between the properties. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. If she's having trouble pulling up the thing, I can try with my computer.
She's on Zoom, so I think she's trying to throw it up on the Zoom.
Gotcha.
That way.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we can see the plan there and can see the setback line. I was gonna ask her to bring up LD1, which has so that's the 3-foot tall slatted fence.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what we did here is we initially presented to you, and what you see on your documents is the fence is in the setback area. Oh yeah, it is in this one. That's right. So this is what we're discussing. These two corner areas. In response to Adam and Caroline's concerns, we did draft an alternative that keeps the fence along the setback line. But we're hoping that we could pose this question to you, just to see if it's feasible to leave the fence in these areas, but leave this grass. This was going to be grass anyway. This would also be grass instead of pavers.
We have authority to waive that?
Well, it's the lands, in the setback, you could have landscaping.
Yeah,
You could have a fence as well.
I think just to be transparent, the real intent here is they do intend to use that grass area.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
We don't have a landscape plan per se, just a site plan.
you have those sheets in the back.
Yes. Right. So you're not proposing any landscaping in front of the fence or around the fences?
I believe there are some trees in the landscape plan.
Do you still need this sheet up, or are we good with this sheet?
We're good with that one.
Yeah, probably L 2.0 or L 4.0 would be.
Yeah, I got 4.0.
You
but-
got something?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And Adam, I'm pulling up the buffer standard for you guys.
Yep. So,
Do you want me to read you the standard?
Yeah, that would
Okay.
probably be easiest.
Yeah, so this is other standards in commercial
527.
one. No, this one, well, this right now I'm reading from you is commercial one.
Okay.
For all uses subject to site plan review and the front setback in a strip extending along the entire frontage of Route 1 except for driveways for a depth of 15 feet, landscaping is required. Landscaping is also required on all side setbacks for a depth of 15 feet extending from the front property line to the furthest back edge of the developed areas of the buildings, parking lots, others impervious surfaces. The PRB shall determine whether the side landscaping shall consist of plantings and or retention of natural cover. Only accessway, walkways, pedestrian and vehicular connectors between parking lots on abutting lots and common driveway for abutting lots are permitted in the side landscape setbacks. In this case, he has two fronts, but
Right, and I guess if you could just go 2 pages further, the LD1, just to show what the fence detail is all of the split rail fence either down or coming down?
It doesn't belong to them.
That's on state land?
State land. With the chicken wire, that one that's fallen down. is
Right.
state property.
Okay.
that's not very good looking.
Right. so
I'm
we-
partial to it, but, no, I'm just kidding.
Did I just pass?
Yeah, I think it should be 2,
What are you talking,
the
what,
next sheet probably.
Two further down.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Yeah. In the paper packet, there's a detail sheet in between.
So there's a
Yeah,
split rail
LD1,
fence on the
uh-huh.
corner?
Yeah, that wraps the corner now
Right.
that's on state property.
Yeah, I
I don't
don't.
know that we detail it
Okay,
in
well,
any of
either
our
way,
things. It's more an eyesore that people I think, are familiar with just from driving by.
Digital.
It's not a big deal.
so I'm sorry, is that gonna remain? Is that what we're hearing?
Well, yeah.
We were instructed to call DOT. That we couldn't.
on hold?
That we technically, yeah. Well, in terms of what we're allowed to do with it, like, we technically can't take it down. I don't want it, so if I get permission, I'll certainly.
Yeah, we're
have it,
talking state DOT.
Right.
Yeah. I think it is, a portion of it is. I can help you follow up on that
Okay.
fence. I think Linda might have a question. You want to take that question?
Sure. Yep.
Linda, you're up.
Okay, I know it's not in our regulations here, but I would like to recommend for the landscaping plan that they use, and I think you probably have anyway, but use native non-invasive plants. And because this is an impaired wetlands area, to severely limit or not use herbicides and pesticides on where you're doing planting. I don't know if it's something we can actually put in there, but I'm suggesting it and hope you can follow it.
I believe our plan does, it mostly, as far as I know, eliminates many non-native invasive species that already exist on the property. And my understanding is that the Michael Boucher landscape architect plan does include native plantings.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was all right. I just wanted to kind of make it as a statement, just because I'd like to start looking at those things going forward with everybody's applications.
I'm gonna screen share for you here the section 527 standard, so you can see that as well. It does have one small section that talks about fencing. So 5, fencing may be incorporated into the landscaping plan at the interior edge of the front landscape setback, especially to screen vehicular lights from the roadway.
Hey, on L4, they do have a list, they do have a plant list. And I don't know if all of these are native, but somebody may.
I'm pretty sure they seem to write on lists that I was comparing to, but I'm not the expert on that. I just know it should be done.
Yeah, it's not a requirement, but, you know, that's something if they decided they wanted to come switch it for a similar size type species that met that could be done under staff approval. It wouldn't require a trip back to you.
So is there room in front of the fence? I'm kind of confused here, for planting on Route 1?
So the fence, see that triangle that goes to the red line? That's the area of the fence. Yeah, so that's all setback.
But this could be planted, yes?
Yeah, I think you previously approved it as grass, so I don't think
Oh, we
they were
did?
proposing a change.
Right.
Yeah, I know, but,
Would you,
I mean, we've been doing some really nice landscape plans on Route 1, and now we're just approving a fence.
were you proposing changes to it?
It would be nice if there was
And
screening.
just to
of
what,
that fence.
the landscaping? I don't believe so.
Yeah, I guess I missed that last time. Yeah, a lot of the lands, well, there's some on this side, I guess, but on Route 1, there's nothing, right? I mean, there's 2 trees, but, so basically it's just grass with a fence.
Unless they added planters along this long front to break it up a little, if that's allowable.
Only problem is there's existing planters that don't belong to David in place. The property line bisects right near one of the signs that's existing that's off the property.
We don't actually own much frontage on Route 1 at all. If you look at that, the way our property lies.
I,
I think we've hit this before. It's kind of an unfortunate property line.
right, and we can't get the fence detail on the screen, but, I mean, it's more of it's a low fence, it's an architectural fence, we're not talking about a 6-foot stockade
Right,
fence.
that's true.
Well, if
Going
you
up
go
there.
to, Caroline, if you go to 16, your PDF, page 16,
Okay, let me open that back up.
there is detail on the fence on that, on the split rail,
Split rail.
with the new site plan on top of the existing site plan.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also right here, so you can see it this way.
This is my page 16.
Yep,
C10?
and if you zoom in, there is the split rail fence that's on there. Keep on zooming in. There.
Sorry.
Now you can see right there, you just move your.
Oh,
cursor-
it's like right here, yeah.
That's it right there. Yep.
Yeah, so their property line's actually back quite a bit from,
Yeah,
So Caroline, is that something that we can have the town commit to work with DOT on? Up?
I don't know that we really have any say, but yeah, we'll be happy to follow up with
Make
Earl.
efforts to do that?
We will make efforts to work with Earl to see if he can help us get that object in the right-of-way cleaned up.
Yeah, it's kind of odd that they put that, unless they put it there to keep cars from
Well, it was probably
going around
put
the
there
corner. but-
before, or maybe it
Oh, it's
wasn't.
been for a while.
Yeah, oh,
It's
yeah,
in
it's been
pretty bad shape.
does your next door neighbor know about your changed plans and?
Yes, yes, he does.
So we're still talking about whether the squared off areas should go into the landscape buffer. I've got an opinion on that.
What's squared out? What area?
It looks like it's in 3 places.
This area
Oh,
over
yeah,
here.
Okay.
and
The 3
then
fence pieces,
This
yeah.
area over in here.
I think those ought to be okay. It's certainly an improvement.
here.
It's an awkwardly shaped piece of property. The side against South Freeport Road has that large additional section of open property before you even get to the road. That's fine with me as proposed.
Actually, I just want to note one clarification for you. Remember last time they came in, because they have the two different options for the front, they said the South Freeport's the front, the other side was the rear because they had like the patio or something. So that top corner where my cursor is, that's actually a rear, which they don't have the buffer requirement. And again, it's due to the uniqueness of the lot. So really, we're talking about these two triangles, fence with the little fill-in area would have to be grass. They'll move that.
And those are in the areas that have got the big the buffer between, on the state property.
Yeah, so just to orient you, kind of sort of ugly fence here, the rock ledge that comes out right now, this is where the gazebo was. And that's sort of like where our property line is gonna start. So this was gonna be grass anyway, so that won't change. It's really just sounds like the engineers have the issue with that being a non-pervious surface. So if we make that grass, that will create two sort of rectangular court areas that I think aesthetically is an improvement over just a clear fence, because I think it just sort of creates it accentuates the weird property line, really. And then just to answer your question, this is our only section of Route 1 that we have. So the planters start here, but we only own about 10 or 15 feet of it, and then the rest that goes back to the BI is Jacobson's property. He agreed to let me take all that out, but again, I believe he's got to go before you to get that approval. So.
Okay, yeah, I forgot. I'm remembering some of this now. So.
And that's where you're trying to put a sign too. So.
Well, we're gonna do our sign here, and we're actually gonna have our sign here, so it'll be in our setback. Oh yes, but yes, in the setbacks where our
Right.
sign's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ford. For me, because it's a custom architectural fence and it's low and, it's designed to go with the building, I think it's fine to be out in the setback.
I think the idea is that we want to show people outside having good. It's not going to be like a stockade and you can't see what's going in. It's more about just having a safe area, because we know that the Route 1 and the South Freeport traffic can be somewhat intense. We know there's a large setback, but this is going to be a family spot, and we really want to be able to make sure there's no kids that are able to get into danger anywhere, like my kids, for instance, because they'll find it.
So on the state, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if this is within our purview, but when I was talking about planters, if you can't have anything shielding you from Main Street, Route 1, I was suggesting planters in that gravel area, or whatever that concrete area. Can you add, on either side of the front door, can you add some greenery to make it not just go from Route 1 to, well, you'll have grass. But I guess I didn't know if you had any plans to break up the visual effect of this very long building with a lot of windows.
I'm sorry, so you're talking about this perspective on
Yes,
the Route
that
1 side?
perspective right up against the building. And again, I don't know if that's within our deal, but it would soften the lines a bit.
I mean, to me, like, this is gonna be a service area with tables and chairs and
Oh, it is?
customers and, yeah,
Oh,
so
I
it's
didn't
gonna be filled with
understand.
like lawn games and people and bodies. So this is an outdoor patio area with a door that goes here out, and it's connected with this patio area here. So this is like more as an impervious service, because we wanted to make it ADA compliant. That was Nick's concern, was that if we had stone dust out here, that handicap folks would be able to navigate the. So that's when we decided to make this concrete and this pavers. That way, we'll be able to accommodate them as well. And then in this area, picture cornhole, an area for kids to kind of run around, some outdoor tables, things like that. This area will have tables for food service, tables, and then if it's in our budget and we can come back for approval, we thought about putting some natural gas stems in here for like exterior fireplace units. But we're just trying to one step at a time.
And has the fence moved since last time? I don't think it has. It's Pretty much the same.
I think it moved slightly.
Slightly,
I don't
yeah,
think
but
we
not
were
a
in
lot.
this setback. I think we were more in this setback
Okay.
previously.
I'm just gonna go back to the state property one more time.
Sure.
So in addition to, Caroline, if the town can make best efforts to remove that split rail fence and any other fixtures there, and then also work out some arrangement so that the state property is able to get mowed and maintained, so it looks like a contiguous piece of property, so we don't end up with long grass, and then there's being behind the scrub area. I think you understand what I'm,
I do.
thank you.
Any other questions? Any members of the public want to comment? Do we have anybody on Zoom? Caroline, or no?
Yeah, you have one member of the public. Linda, do you have anything you wanted to add? Okay, no from Linda. We have one member of the public on Zoom. If you want to make comments, you can raise your virtual hand and we'll bring you over to comment.
I think it's my wife.
She might want to comment.
It's actually Corey's dad.
Okay.
He's tuning in for his support. His name's
Okay.
up there.
Great. Well, then if there's no more questions, I think we're ready to entertain a motion. Just remember, we do need number 5 for the town engineer, which Caroline might have helpfully written down. Anyone wants?
Yeah, actually, so, sorry, one other thing I just wanted, you guys decided that the fencing you're gonna allow to stay?
Yeah, good call. Well, we can just strike 3 altogether, can't we?
No, because they do need to revise the patio. They can't have the stone in the
Oh, area of
setback.
patio. So we can just strike and fencing?
Yep, so there's a revised motion, if you want to read it or pass it down.
What's number 5?
It seemed like you
It's
were
coming
the-
your way.
So,
I'll read it. Thank you. All right. I make a motion. The proposed motion is, be it ordered that the Freeport Project Review Board approve the printed findings of fact, change of use to restaurant and artesian food and beverage for Mr. 117 Route 1 LLC at 117 Route 1, US Route 1, to be built substantially as proposed, application dated February 4th, 2022, finding that it meets the standards of the Freeport zoning ordinance with the following conditions of approval. 1, this proposal incorporates by references all supporting plans that amend the previously approved plans submitted by the applicant and their representatives at the Project Review Board meetings and hearings on the subject application to the extent that they are not in conflict with other stated conditions. 2, the conditions of approval from the original approval granted by the Project Review Board on September 15th, 2021 are still applicable. 3, the area of the patio near Route 1 and South Freeport Road shall be located to comply with the setback requirements of the zoning district. 4, the applicant to submit a detailed cost estimate to reflect the changes in cost of all proposed site work associated with the project. And 5, the town engineer conduct a final review of the revised plans to ensure that the comments made in his email dated March 14th, 2022, have been adequately addressed.
Do I hear a second?
second.
All right, so now we need to do roll call vote for all those in favor. Let's screw this up. So no Blanchard. Blanchard is recused. Berger,
Yes?
Hamlin,
Yes.
Reiki.
Yes.
Oh, no, I missed somebody. I should have started. Campanelli,
Yes.
Yankee,
Yes.
and Troidel, yes. So it's unanimous. All right, thank you.
What's your time frame?
Gosh, we're hoping mid-July. That's ambitious.
I was gonna say, look at him, no?
Well, not. We're all looking forward to it.
Thank you. Parties at my place.
Oh.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Chairman, you're back.
Thanks. The next item on our agenda is persons wishing to address the board on any non-agenda items.
I always have one.
Okay.
I just want to thank Geraldine and Adam for all they have done for the board. You know, I think you've both been dedicated so much time, pandemic, pre-pandemic, over the 6 years, and really been instrumental in contributing to which I think are improvements in our process and the way we're delivering stuff to make it more efficient. So I'll miss working with you both. It's really been a pleasure, and just thank you for everything you've done for the town, because it's not unnoticed.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been good. It's been fun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Been fortunate.
I'll still be here. I'm sure I'll be back at some point, but
Yeah, right.
a little break.
Volunteer break.
Volunteer break,
Yeah,
well earned for both of
Definitely.
you.
thank you.
And Guy, you should have seen how Adam asked for public comment. It was so.
Skip a beat. He's done this before. Anything else?
That's all.
Non-agenda? No, I think we've had a pretty long day here. All right, the next item is adjourn. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. Roll call vote. Berger?
Yes.
Blanchard, yes. Campanelli?
Yes.
Hamlin?
Yes.
Reiki? Yes. Troidel?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
So moved. We are adjourned.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Good night, Linda.
Thank you.
All right, Linda.